I'd like to tell you a little story about the time I bought way too many books at an auction. And for some reason, I wrote my notes tiny in brown ink on a little piece of pink paper. I don't know why I did that, so I have to like hold it like here to see it. Uh, the way auctions used to be pre-world shutdown, country estate auctions, actually estate auctions, not particularly country. Um, there'd be ads in the paper. There'd be one day a week when all the auction ads were there. The overhead must have been lower because there were way more auctions back in the day than there are now. I would cut out the auction ads, circle the ones that had books. I mean, those were the only ones I saved. And put them in order of the date and how far I had to drive. And I didn't go to every single one of them. You couldn't. I mean, besides buying books, you also have to sell them. So you need to take some time out for that. But I would go several times a week to auctions. Lots of them you'd look and there was nothing worth staying for. I had to make rules. It's like if you don't find one single book you can sell for, I forget what the total was now, but if you don't find a single book that's worth more than X, you cannot stay. But I liked auctions. They were all day affairs because the books would sell last, so I'd be there till the bitter end waiting on the books. And meanwhile, you like got to snoop through people's lives. Is that a good thing? I don't know, but I was addicted to it. But lately, last few years, during the shutdown, auctions around me had to change to online auctions. They signed up with auction services online. I mean, they have their own website, but they sell through HiBid something. And you're sitting at home looking at pictures. They will have a preview time, but there are far fewer auctions now and way fewer auctions locally. So I do go to look at the local auctions, but if it's an hour away, it's harder. I have not yet gone to a preview that's an hour away. Sometimes maybe I should have. I understand that auctioneers prefer to sell online. Whoops. Someone drove down my alley. I understand the people who they are putting the auctions on for also are happy with them. I'm not happy. I don't know about other people who buy books or buy things. I'm not happy with them. I can't figure them out. But anyways, I do my best. I read all the auction ads I get. I look at all those pictures. I enlarge them and try and see what the titles of the books are. We have one auctioneer who takes a picture of a box of books, and they'll have like 4 pictures. They do not move the top books so you can see what's underneath, but they'll have 4 angles of those couple books on top. It's always fun. Anyways, there's the auction ends at whatever time on whatever day, but it's a staggered ending. So the auction begins to end at whatever time, 7 o'clock on Tuesday the whatever. And lot by lot it goes through, so you can sit there and actively throw in higher bids. So it just takes forever. there's a pickup time the next day when you have a window. You can pick up what you bought between like 2 and 5 for, I'm not sure. It's probably a longer window than that. But with books, you have to take your own boxes, pack them all up, get them all out of there and hauled away during that window. If you don't get them picked up within the time, then they charge you per day. I don't know. I think they might have changed that rule, but you had to take everything that you bought, or they were going to charge you by the day X amount of money. So, you had to be careful to pick up every little last scrap. I think that the last auction said that if you didn't pick it up by the end of the pickup time, then you were forfeit. But according to the rules anyways, I don't know how it works in real life, but you're not allowed to say, hey, I can't come, can I come, the next day? Or you're not allowed to say things like that. So if you can't pick them up in the allotted time, forget it. So me, if it's a large number of books, I have a friend who will come and help me, but I have to reserve him. I have to, before I can bid on an auction, I have to get hold of him and say, hey, are you free on, whatever date from whatever time to pick up books if I get them? And if he is, he better not forget about me and have to work. I mean, he has a job. So that makes it complicated. Well, I've only had to use him a couple times, and I worked him to death. Almost every time. Okay, so this particular auction was a professor. I mean, the deceased was a professor who had specialized in like diseases and pandemics, and he had books about nutrition and food availability, cooking, like how cooking developed, like how the use of, one book was named Corn, and it was a history of corn. But also like plagues and prisons and slavery and all sorts of factors, that would enter into people eating badly. I thought they were quite interesting. I like oddball books, and I'm like, whoa, this is cool. And I would have, liked to have been the person that bought the whole show, but instead it was an auction, and you bid on, the lots were one section of a bookcase. So, like 6 shelves. Yeah. And you sit at home and you're looking at photos of books on the shelves and reading the spines, what spines you can read, and looking at the condition of the spine because that's all you've got. Yeah. You don't know. You could open these books and someone's hollowed them out to make those little boxes that we all tried to make when we were, oh, maybe you didn't, when we were little kids. They have the hiding places in the books. Well, anyways, you just assume that they're great shape and you have no idea what edition they are, and you don't want to ask because if it happens to be a first of something, you don't want anyone else to know. They will have a preview, like I said, but if it's far away, you don't always have the time to spare. It's not like it's flexible. There's a preview from like 1 to 3 on whatever day. And I have gone to some sometimes and tried to go through every book. Oh, that was a trip. But, and still ended up confused. So anyways, you've got a couple weeks before the end of the auction day. And basically, I I looked up books that I could look up, just to see exactly how scarce that title was. Like, corn was not scarce at all. The Story of Corn, maybe that was the title of it. Corn wasn't worth buying. But I picked out, you're trying to guess. I have an old Explorer, and my friend has a similar car but much newer. So it's not like you've got cargo vans, but they do hold quite a bit. Yeah. So you try to guess how much capacity you have for books. Don't have to do that when it's a local auction. In local auction, I can go back and forth. I can do it in my car. I don't even need help. Unless it's, well, sometimes I do. But I tried to guess, and I forget how many lots I decided I would try to buy. But I put preliminary bids on all the lots I was interested in, which I do, and then I keep my eye on them, because most of the time the bids will get really high, and I will drop out. Like, yeah, I'm interested in that lot, but I'm not paying that. So I concentrate on the ones that aren't going that high. Well, not this time. I guess no one but me was interested in, wild food of Australia, or what, something about the bubonic something in Brazil. It was written in Portuguese. Is that what they speak? Had to look it up. Anyways, yes, I was quite interested. I was at a concert. Had tickets to go to a concert. I don't remember. I think it was X. I'm not sure. It was at Kent State. I remember being at Kent State. Well, not Kent State. It's Kent downtown, and there's a theater. And that's when the bids were going. I put in reserve bids for the boxes or lots I decided I was going to buy. And sitting there at the concert, and your phone will, they send you an email. They send you an email if someone outbids you. And then at the end of that lot, they send you one if you got it. So I didn't pay any attention. I figured what I got. If I didn't get any, I would live. We got done with the show, and I looked at my phone, my email on my phone, and by golly, I had won a whole lot of lots. I got home in the wee hours, 1-ish, and emailed my friend who was helping me carry, and a friend who happens to live in the same town as the auction. And I said, hey, can I borrow your garage? I kind of bought a lot of books. Yeah. So then pickup is the next day. And you have to take boxes, which is always a dilemma. Fill your car up with empty boxes. And if you don't use them, do you throw them away? Because, I've worked hard to collect up my sturdy boxes. My collection of banker boxes with lids and stuff, You get very attached to your boxes, right? So I don't want to leave them behind, but I don't want to fill up a car with empty boxes. I find that paper grocery bags work really well because they fold down to nothing, so you can have a whole mass of those. My friend is not impressed because he can carry way more than that. I can carry a grocery bag full of books pretty well, but it does make for way more trips. But I took boxes and boxes and more boxes and a huge pile of grocery bags, and we used every one of them. And my friend who lived locally there, uh, I I took books off shelves and packed them the entire time. I didn't carry anything until the very end. I could barely keep up, and we were there, I think, the whole pickup time. We got there fairly early, and it's a madhouse when you get there because especially this house was on a cul-de-sac. So a little circle with room for maybe 3 cars, and everyone is trying to get as close as they can so that they can pick up their thing and not have to carry it very far. Oh my gosh. It just, the neighbors have signs in the yard saying, do not park here. uh, it's a mess. I mean, it's normally a mess, but this one was worse because it was on a little circle. Yeah, so poor old Colin is carrying books out as I pack the boxes, and I'm not sure how far down the street he had to walk to load up his car. By the time his car was full and we were ready to pack mine, there was an empty spot. So I pulled in close to the house. Yeah, it was a mess. We were so hot and tired and thirsty and cranky. It was a marathon. We drove to my friend who lives there, her house, and dumped off a bunch of books into the garage. Not as many as I thought we were going to have to. We nearly had them all in our car and in her car. So that's 3 cars. She only had a little car. Wow, it was wild. We stopped for pizza and beer. Oh my God, felt like we'd been through the war. Drove back here, and I told my friend, we only have to empty your car, just dump them in the garage. I can empty the Explorer slowly. Yeah, I don't remember any more of that night. I had boxes and boxes of books. And I did pretty well with them. The big problem is that was like a year and a half ago. There hasn't been a decent auction since, as far as books are concerned. I got done pricing and typing and putting dust jacket covers on all those books ages ago. So it's just a little here, little there. That's my problem if I don't have a source for buying books. Yeah. Yeah, and then my friend whose garage we filled up told me, I hope you don't mind, but some of those books were trash, so I threw them away. And I'm like, oh. I don't think she threw away anything. But no, I'll come and get them. I will. Anyways. Now, this guy, I call him the messy professor because he put notes in his books and he wasn't, shy about it. Big notes. Not all the books, but, some of them had quite bold highlighting and notes in the margins and notes in the end papers. So, I had to price them accordingly. I mean, some of them you couldn't really sell because of it. Anyways, messy professor books. There was one book that I didn't know was there that was on tea. The stuff that you drink, tea. It's like a history of tea. And when I looked that book up, if only that book had been in good condition, that would have been worth a mega fortune. Can't remember exactly what it was, but it sold right away. I put a reasonable price on it, and it sold right away, and it paid for the whole auction. Didn't pay for the pizza, but it paid for the whole auction. Didn't pay for the gas either. So that was one of the marvelous times when you buy a lot of books and immediately sell enough to pay for them. But that's because the books were so darn cheap. I put the minimum bids on, like $5 a lot. Yeah, if only. Yeah, sometimes I think, wish I could come across another bunch of books like that, even if it was chaos. Okay, your song for the day. Oh God, I've got to describe that too. You haven't heard enough of me talking. I lived in Mexico, in Merida, and while I was there, I had a really good friend who taught an art class to teenagers. It was comic book art, and they decided to put out a anthology of their comics that they were working on, and had a project where they asked singers, songwriters to write a song about each comic. And so I met up with the kid, whom I can't remember his name. The name of the comic had to be Drafters because that's the name of the song. And he described what was going on in his comic. And it had to do with an evil, like, scientist who's developing, like, super soldier kind of thing, super terrible soldier, and his project gets canceled. So he experiments on his 2 children. And the children, as they're growing up, they're getting taken over by their evil monster soldier things, personas. And they had no idea. Now they do. So that's what the song is about. Drafters. These things you didn't tell us, secrets you didn't warn us, we had to find out for ourselves. Strangers that live among us, dark souls that come between us, you should have told us they were there. Did we ask to be the children of a madman? Did we ask to be the tools of your revenge? Dropped into this evil world you created, we have to face it all alone. Whoops. Sorry. Burning with unbled passion, hiding ourselves within us, trying to save our innocence. We had another life once, dim memories try to haunt us, ghost shadows cloud our broken dreams. Did we ask to be the children of a madman? Did we ask to be the tools of your revenge? Dropped into this evil world that we created, you created. We have to face it all alone. Powers that bleed our souls dry, voices that whisper your lies, sowing your hatred in our hearts. Diving into the madness, don't know what might possess us. Monsters who eat us from within. Did we ask to be the children of a madman? Did we ask to be the tools of your revenge? Dropped into this evil world you created, we have to face it all alone. The worst thing is, this kid who I wrote the song for dropped out. I never got to do the song. Thank you.